Hi, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to my first podcast. This is Nicolas Luna, and I am a language coach on italki. I've been working here for about 6 years, but in total I've been teaching languages for about 15. Anyway, let's get to it. Here are some tips that I have compiled and developed from a multitude of sources on how to do well during an interview, or in that sense, how to do well anytime you're having to answer questions. All right, so here's the thing. When we are answering questions during an interview, our biggest enemy is not our lack of knowledge or even our lack of English or Spanish knowledge or whatever second language we are having to do this interview in. Our biggest enemy is nervousness. And when we get nervous, our brain basically shuts down and we're thrown into our primitive brain, the fight or flight response. Well, this is a lot to unpack. I'm just giving you guys a nice condensed some tips here, but I will unpack them in the next few podcast episodes. Anyway, so that's our goal. How to stay away from the fight or flight response, which shuts everything down and makes us forget everything. Okay, I've developed a technique which uses two of the tactical empathy techniques from Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference, which I highly recommend. And I call it MBL. Mirror, breathe, label. And then keep it short and sweet. So, if somebody asks you a question, the first thing you need to do is mirror them. To mirror somebody means to repeat the last 1 to 3 words they've said. This is one of the key techniques that Chris Voss teaches at his consulting group and negotiation consulting group called the Black Swan Group. So you do this basically, as far as I understand, as a way to kind of add some oil to the gears and make the person keep talking. So if they ask you the classic interview question, tell me about yourself, you could mirror it as about myself. And this would cause the interviewer to immediately have to elaborate. Yeah, something like, tell me about your career or how you've grown, etc. Okay, great. Now you have more information. And then the next step is you take a deep breath. You calm yourself down. This is very important. None of these techniques work if you're not calm. And then you label. Okay, what's a label? So a label, and I'm putting everything in my own words, Chris Voss, so please don't get angry. I really admire the guy, actually. Anyway, what I understand by a label is basically using the neurons in our intestines to consolidate large amounts of data and information, to basically analyze the 738-55 rule, which is that only 7% of communication are the actual words, and 38% is the tone of voice, 55% is the body language, and then basically make an educated guess as to what do they really want to know. What's the unasked question? What's the question behind the question? So in the case of tell me about yourself, they've already elaborated when you mirrored them. So the next thing to do is to say something like, and all mirrors start with sounds like, seems like, looks like, because this way it stays neutral and it's not confrontational. You're just throwing it out there as like, sounds like you're saying this. And of course you have to do it in the right tone of voice, which is inquisitive, right? So sounds like you want to know why I've made the choices in my career that I've made so far and how they connect. Yes, the interviewer is going to say, yeah, that's exactly what I want to know. Or maybe you've accidentally mislabeled, and that's fine too. And the interviewer will happily, here's the key word, happily correct you and say, no, actually I kind of wanted to know, why you wanted to come and work at our company. But to tell you the truth, most of the time they want to know why you've made the choices. Basically connect the dots on your resume. Not tell them everything that they can already see, right? That's the whole point. They can see Facebook and Google and Twitter and stuff. You're at the interview to tell them something new. Okay, so you've mirrored them. And now you have a really clear idea of what they want to know. And you've killed multiple birds with one stone. Sorry, vegetarians. And actually, what an antiquated phrase. But anyway, they feel understood. They feel heard, the interviewer, I mean. And you have had time to think, and you know exactly what they want to know. So when you give them a concise answer, they're going to be happy, and you're going to be able to do it with better grammar and shorter sentences, all of which make you come off as a much more fluent speaker of English or Spanish or whatever language you're learning. Alrighty then. Well, that's about it for this first tip. I will elaborate more on each one of these things in the coming podcasts. And yeah, please don't hesitate to let me know what you thought. This is pretty much my first podcast ever. So I'm signing off. I'll catch you later.